I'm going to do a reading by David M. Horst called The Last Leaf, and then I'll do a short reflection. A snow-covered poplar bush with only a few golden leaves. Once, many gray autumns ago, I came upon a tree. The tree, a poplar, had dropped all of its leaves, but for one, just one, exactly one leaf remained near the topmost part of the tree, fluttering in the breeze like a little reddish-brown flag. All of the other leaves lay around the ground or had blown away. I stopped and looked and marveled at the sight. I wondered what the odds might be that I was the one person who happened to arrive at that one tree at that one moment, but one leaf remained. What were the odds? I felt an instant kinship with the one leaf. I admired its stubbornness. I spoke quietly to it. Hang on, never give up, don't let go. I gazed at that last leaf for a long time. Though I did not stay to witness its falling, I did not want to witness its falling. The leaf was not ready to let go and dropped silently to the ground, and neither was I, though I knew we both would, in time, let go. I praised the last leaf on that autumn day many years ago when I was still young. I walked on, and slowly, imperceptibly, a sense of calm came over me, a sense of acceptance, a sense of peace. The exuberance of summer is gone. Grand plans and high hopes give way to chilly reality. We loved as best we could. We've reaped as much as we could. We've traveled life's journey as far as we could. We count our blessings and our losses. All leaves must fall. The circle of the year comes round. Our hemisphere tilts away from the sun. Green turns to gold. Life returns to the soil. Animals retreat. The night grows long. The natural world lies fallow. The season of letting go comes as it always comes, and winter begins. So as a gardener, I eventually come to a point in late summer when I look forward to the fallow season of winter, when my caretaking duties subside to a standstill, to a pause. In particular, this season, I want a pause from the feeling of hypervigilance over watering during this hot and dry summer. I want a pause from the daily covering of my watermelon plant that's being munched on by the white-tailed deer every single night. I want to pause from the feeling of, I need to find one more spot for another jar in my herbal apothecary and just one more spot in the freezer for produce. I transition from the, I must harvest more, I must find more space in my house, to a sigh of relief. I wave the flag of surrender. It is enough. That's all I've got. If I die this winter from starvation, well, that's all she wrote. I release my grip on endless growth. In the poem I just read, the author states that the exuberance of summer is gone, though I think it still continues. It still continues to shimmer in my house, in my home. I have reaped as much as I could, and now I want to enjoy the harvest through the flavors preserved in my winter stew, the variation of color beaming back at me through those jars of herbs, and the scent of herbal tea from a cup of herbal tea. Before the longing sets in for the garden to rest, there is another phase for me. The garden is perfect. The color, the texture, the flavors, the pollinators buzzing about. It's so picture perfect that I want it to stay. I want time to stand still. I want nothing to change. No more growth, no more death, no more transplanting or seeding. I don't want it to end. It will never, ever be this good again. I want it to last forever, just the way it is. And I remember that the only thing that is constant is change, as Heraclitus said. In our society, we put the most value on ceaseless growth and light. Darkness and rest are discouraged, and in some cases vilified. Yes, rest and darkness have been edges for me too. I am reclaiming them as medicine. Rest can feel like a lack of momentum for me, a stagnation, and it feels like too much stillness. It feels like dying. However, when I battle to keep rest and darkness at bay, then I suffer, and I don't like to suffer. So I look to my teacher and my mentor for guidance on how to reclaim this medicine. My mentor's name is nature. Nature shows me the importance of darkness and rest. For without it, regeneration doesn't happen. It is in the darkness, the stillness, the pausing, that momentum gets its fuel. Rest with the darkness. Embrace it as the medicine to regeneration. In this industrial society has hidden the darkness with so much light. We push away the darkness at bay with all of our lights. Do you know what happens to plants when they are forced to grow all season? They don't look good. They get thin, they stretch, they look diluted in color. They kind of look like they have a hangover. They also seem to crave rest. So in darkness and pausing, there is a reduction of our most prized human sense, the one we lean on the most, sight, visual cues. We want to see the things, the concrete, the tangible. Without this sense of sight, we lean on some others. One of the sense is, again, devalued and vilified in this culture. Some call this intuition, some call this connection to spirit. The ability to connect via the spirit and our energetic being, beyond the tangible. Beyond the tangible is where our ancestors exist. What a great season to remember and connect with our ancestors at this time, when our visual senses are dulled from the shorter duration of sunlight, when the skeletons of trees are revealed, when all of nature is seemingly dead, when we can remember life. For it is in life that we die, and it is death that we are reborn.
The earth is our oldest ancestor. Each step we take is supported by the very land below our feet. Take a second with me and just shift your weight a little bit. You can, make a little noise. We're dancing on our ancestors. Like it? Good. I think they like the dancing. All right. Good. The earth is our progenitor, our parent, our home. We are not the only beings to walk and live upon this earth. Our plant kin and stone kin, and our water kin, our sky kin, and our animal kin. All relatives, all ancestors, all a part of our history and our foundation. We are not the only humans who have walked upon this earth. The myriad of indigenous peoples who have and do walk this earth, the histories, cultural practices, and relationships to the land have all influenced our connection to the land today and to each other. For me, a part of honoring the earth as ancestor has been learning about and honoring the history of the earth and the land I live upon and the peoples who have lived upon it. My direct ancestors came from Europe, in varying places. They came here, and they came to this land, uprooted themselves from one continent, and settled down in another. I'm not sure why they picked Wisconsin. Maybe it was something about it that reminded them of home. Maybe it was where the land was cheap. Maybe this is where they were allowed to go in this new world. Either way, they came. And they started to try to make a life for themselves and those to come. They came to northern Wisconsin, they logged and cleared land to be used for farming, and they modified the land to their purpose. There's actually a photograph of my great-great-grandmother Bertha in a county history up north. That's her standing on a big log that has, or a stump that's been cut, and she's got one of those two big handled saws that for two people that she's leaning across and just doing one of these, sassy expressions. And I love that expression on her, and she seems to be a person who went through many hardships, but also persevered in this new land. And I can gain strength from that part of my history. But I also see in that same photo, I see dozens of tree stumps littering the background, and my heart breaks. And I also remember that land was part of ceded territories of the Anishinaabe and other indigenous groups. That land was taken from one people and given to another that disenfranchised the indigenous people and led to their forced assimilation. When the land was logged, it was changed so much. The ecosystem isn't the same, and it's affected all the beings that live upon it and depend on it today. We lost so many of our tree kin and deeply wounded our human kin as well in this action. So just as I carry the strength of my ancestors, so do I carry the weight of their past actions as well, for good or ill. Today, I choose to do work that honors my ancestors, both as a source of inspiration and strength, and for growth and healing of past wounds, both in my life and the lives past and today. I don't think that it's a coincidence that I have been drawn to learning about plants and how to grow and tend and promote native and healthy ecological landscapes. I also don't think it was a coincidence that when I was in college and you were required to take a language, two of which I took beforehand and failed, Anishinaabe, Moen, or Ojibwe language was the language that finally made sense in my mind, in my brain, and I could learn it. And from that, I had the opportunity to learn about cultural teachings, learn from the indigenous communities, about historic events and current movements and needs in so many indigenous communities in our state and around the world. And that's been, for me, a part of the deeper work. There's so much more to learn and to do, and I'm just starting. Working with our ancestors is never about ending tasks towards healing and being healed, but it's about taking those actions here and now to honor and remember and to mend what our ancestors left for us. Orlog is a word in Nordic culture and terminology. It's an idea of a strand. Think of a piece of yarn that's being drafted. It's a strand of our actions from those who came before us and everything that has led to my own existence today and the lives that I live now. In examining and understanding and seeking to mend that thread, it leads to healing myself and those around me and those who will come to be. Each action I take is creating a new and better past for myself and for my ancestors and those who come after.